my favorite character is hands down Norton.
Me too, man. I like him.
Gotta love the heels.
Yeah, he's good.
No, but what I loved about it was that he's so calm, cool, collected, and you just don't think of him as being a mean, nasty person, you know. But then once he has that smiley face when he's taking down in the basement when he's doing what he's doing down there, and he's got that smile to him, and it makes him look a lot more sadistic. You know, like, oh, I guess we better take care of that. And it's like, you know, so it's like that hands down is my favorite character. And it's also because, like, even before all of this started happening, when things was you know, when was hitting the fan and their business was collapsing, he was just like, nah, we'll take care of it. Don't worry. I've got it covered, you know. And that's kind of how my personality is when things are, you know, when things are really going bad. I want to make sure that I don't freak out, and I feel like that his character was doing the exact same thing. But then he ended up finding that solution and getting way too deep into it.
It's pretty amazing. You know, when you, it doesn't matter. You can be the best writer. You can be the Steven Spielberg of writers, but no one can ever say when it comes to whether if you're doing a regular film or you're doing a short film, no one can ever say how that film is going to turn out and if it's going to be good, because you just don't know. Anybody can say, yeah, the writing looks great and everything sounds great, but until you actually get it on screen and these actors and actresses actually come forward and do it, it's just paper. You just have a bunch of words on paper and no depth, no anything. So for it to come out the way that it did, I thought it was awesome.
Maybe it's just because of how good Jerry is on set that I'm curious to see how his character turns out on screen, because I usually like characters like that, but I don't really have an expectation to how it's going to turn out, because obviously I haven't seen the full thing yet, but that's who I'm going to keep an eye on for the whole movie.
So my favorite thing about the editing was placing the score, because it's one thing to watch the film when there's no sound and there's nothing. It actually kind of sucks. But once you start dropping music in, whether it's pre-made, and we actually used a lot of stock music, then it takes on its own life. And it was really exciting when you see something that was pre-made, you drop it in and it just happens to work out. Yeah. You might have to make some tweaks to it, but I think that was the most exciting thing about editing this. Shooting. Because everybody needs to have a shot list, and especially as a cinematographer, whether you're directing or not, you need to know exactly what's happening on the story. So to be able to do this improv, that's where I felt like I could have done better. Take a little bit more time to get more shots and know the story a little bit more, so that way I could say, okay, yeah, we need to get this type of shot. You know, spend a little bit more time to get just than our basic, you know, 2-shot, wide shot, whatever it is we used. But at the same time, I think it fits this movie because you're looking at this as almost realism. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So this is almost like this is happening. You're seeing it play out in front of you without having to indulge in a camera movement. Now, of course, that's the first half of the movie, and then at the second half, I think that was where I shined the most, was especially in the basement. That one was, you can get so much more creative, and it was such a tight, confined space. It really made the atmosphere, I think, help with that too. So, on a personal level, I think the basement scene really saved my confidence in the film. Wow. Just because of the way that I would not change a thing in the basement. Anything we did outside at night, that was very difficult, because lighting wise, that's difficult. And I'm sure that's probably the same for sound.
Yeah.
Obviously not lighting, but.
What was the most difficult thing for you to shoot for sound? Like, it was just hard, you just couldn't get it, or it felt like, man, this isn't gonna work?
Well, outside is always unpredictable. You always need to do that multiple times, no matter what. Like, it's always like, damn, it's one more take. But just because the basement ceiling was so low, it's always like, you know, like your back hurts, because you have to be under the whole time. You can't put it above you. So, yeah, height of the basement was, at first, because what you said, Dan, was like, oh, like, we can't do this. That's what I was thinking. Like, how is it gonna go about?
How'd you feel in the basement? It was uncomfortable. How
Oh, no,
did you feel?
I liked it. Like I said, that was my bucket list stuff. So
Wow.
I had a sore throat for 3 days, so.
I
That was
got
rough.
I got a little fake blood on the boom pole. So sorry about that.
I think it all worked, and I'm going to go back to this. I think it all worked because we were all very lucky to have each other. Whether if that was an actor, whether if that was someone that was like Aidan working the sound or Dan doing the camera work, we all worked together. And again, we all helped with, if someone couldn't come up with an idea, someone was right there. It couldn't have been an actor, it couldn't have been Dan. Somebody was always right there to say, hey, listen, I know what to do. For example, Jerry, we did the scene with Anthony. We had a little hard time getting that scene done to make it look real. And he said, well, how about you just wrap it in this and put blood on it?
Hated it.
And Tony hated it at first. But then when we got everything set and he was placed and we saw it, then it was like, wow. If it looks that way now, just imagine when it gets on camera. And I think that that's what's good when you have a team and everybody is on the same page, no matter if you're a director, it doesn't matter what you are. Everybody's on the same page and everybody has the same goal, so I thought that was great.